Indiana News Desk is made possible in part by Maller-Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnerships with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. Smithville Fiber Internet Security Solutions and Voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger and Robertson Attorneys at Law, utilizing 75 years of experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana News Desk.
We're calling everybody to join us and for them to, we feel that if everybody comes together that they eventually can't ignore us.
The Indiana Graduate Workers Coalition kicked off a new campaign called Whitten Goes, Union Grows. It takes aim at Indiana University President Pamela Whitten. After years of ignored calls, the union is demanding change.
There are still tree farms in southern Indiana where you can go cut down your own tree, but environmental factors are making the growing process a bit more challenging. I spoke with local tree farms about how they keep up with demand.
And the Indiana football team will find out Sunday who they'll play in the first round of the college football playoffs. These stories and more right now on Indiana News Desk. Welcome to Indiana News Desk. I'm Joe Wren. The Indiana Graduate Workers Coalition is resuming its protest against the university and President Pamela Whitten. The coalition sent a letter to the Board of Trustees on November 1st demanding, among other things, Whitten's termination. After not receiving a response from the board by its slated deadline of November 20th, the coalition rallied outside Sample Gates this morning. Aubrey Wright has more.
Hey Joe. The new campaign is called Whitten Goes, Union Grows, so they want IU to fire President Pamela Whitten. This comes after a lot of controversy on the Bloomington campus and multiple votes of no confidence. They also want IU to revoke the new expressive activity policy. So this policy was passed by the Board of Trustees this summer, and it came after huge protests on campus. They're also aligning with some of their usual demands, which is requesting formal bargaining agreements with the university and higher wages. I spoke with union press officer David Garner, and he says the union wants to work with the university.
We do this every time and they continually ignore us. Not once has Whitten ever responded to anything the union has ever sent her.
So it's been a while since we've heard from the coalition. Can you give us a little background, Aubrey, on their demands?
Yeah, this union was formed in 2019 and their demands really haven't changed. They're still asking for union recognition from the administration and living wages, and they've repeatedly tried to appeal to the administration. So they have been on some pretty substantial strikes before. In 2022, they struck for weeks, and that led to higher pay from the university. And they also struck last spring, which again, they asked for higher pay. So now they have this campaign targeting President Pamela Whitten, the expressive activity policy, and those two things.
Okay, and before you go, just what are the plans going forward?
I think it's hard to say. Everybody wants to know right now if this union will go on strike again. But I've been told today and in the past that that is usually the last resort for the union. It happens after a lot of discussions and a vote. So today, David Gardner told me they may resort to other ways of organizing and coalition building.
All right, Aubrey, thank you so much. Well, it's getting harder to grow Christmas trees in southern Indiana due to the rising temperatures and diseases. Isabella Vesperini joins us from Twin H Tree Farms to tell us more on how local growers are still meeting the demand.
Thanks, Joe. While experts say that everyone who wants a real tree will be able to get one, environmental factors are making the growing process more challenging. One local tree farm can only grow 2 types of trees that can survive the heat: white pine and Norway spruce.
It's clay soil, so it dries out like concrete.
Twin H Tree Farm has gone from growing 150 acres of trees to 50 acres of trees since they first opened in 1985.
You got 10 years to protect the tree from the elements. And if you're lucky, you get a sellable tree.
Hopwood plants between 1,200 and 1,400 trees each year and harvests 300 to 400 annually to sell. It takes about 8 to 10 years for a Christmas tree to grow.
They're shallow-rooted trees, so I have a lot of fatalities as soon as we get a dry spell. If I can get a tree in the field to survive the first 4 or 5 years, I'll probably have a sellable tree.
A variety of bugs and blights, as well as deer eating the trees, also makes it harder to keep the crop healthy. Hopwood can usually sell about 60 to 70% of each year's harvest. Hopwood has raised the prices of the trees in the hopes of making more money. Depending on the size and type, prices range from $50 to $375.
I cannot get enough money out of the ones in the field to make a profit off of them.
While Hopwood has an adequate number of trees on her farm to get by, she still relies on her supplier from Michigan to meet demand for taller trees. Michigan is the 3rd largest producer of Christmas trees in the nation, growing nearly 13.5 million fir trees each year. Hopwood received 1,500 trees from Michigan this year. May's Greenhouse in Bloomington ships in trees from North Carolina, about 900 Fraser firs.
The Fraser firs are kind of the Cadillac of the Christmas trees, so that's what everybody wants.
Pennington hasn't been able to get enough trees that are 9 feet tall and above. He wanted 4 or 5 more. His tallest tree this year is 12 feet instead of the normal 14 feet. The demand for taller trees is increasing.
It's slow to grow, so they've been planting more, but it's just now starting to catch up to demand. But the taller trees haven't had enough time to grow yet to have enough.
Younger trees are the most vulnerable to the warmer temperatures. Average annual temperatures have increased 1 to 2 degrees between 1979 and 2021 and are expected to continue to rise another 5 to 6 degrees by 2050. Higher temperatures, especially in the fall, can decrease some trees' ability to retain their needles due to loss of moisture.
A lot of times growers will have to hold off on harvesting until the trees have experienced some cool weather.
But this becomes harder to do because people are starting their Christmas celebrations earlier and earlier. May's Greenhouse got calls from people as early as November 1st asking when they would start selling trees. Studies show early celebrations and the sight of holiday decor can improve mood and increase dopamine levels. 95% of homes in the country display at least one tree, and almost 80% of trees displayed are artificial. Around 85% of artificial trees are imported from China.
It's just a convenience, instant Christmas. So I think that's very popular.
Even though artificial trees are growing in popularity, Warner says not to worry about real trees going out of business, even with droughts affecting crops in the Northeast and Pacific Northwest.
I think the popularity of both trees is still extremely high. We do see a lot of people decorating inside and outside of their home with multiple trees, which is fun.
As climate change continues to make temperatures rise, farmers will have to adapt and start growing tree species that are more resistant to warm weather. Canadian fir and Turkish fir both handle higher temperatures well.
We're actually establishing seed orchards here in the United States. So we are going to collect and create our own seed supply in the United States to then grow those tree seedlings out with. So even though they're not native to the U.S., we would still produce them here.
Even though Hopwood struggles to make money off of the trees she grows, she still sees the value in keeping her farm open.
I just grow them because people like to walk through them.
Other farms in Indiana are having a hard time growing trees and have raised prices, but but there will still be enough trees to go around. Reporting from Twin H Tree Farms for Indiana News Desk, I'm Isabella Vesperini.
Bloomington City Council is planning to revise a proposal that would more than double their annual salaries. Discussion and public comment on the ordinance that sparked public backlash is now scheduled for next Tuesday's special session. Council member Sidney Zulik headed the Committee on Salary Ordinances. The original proposal would have raised City Council salaries from $24,000 a year to $45,000. She said at Wednesday night's council meeting that the raise was partly in reaction to President Trump's promise to raise tariffs.
After some reflection, I no longer believe that this is the best use of our money in the face of what will most likely be, pretty devastating to a lot of people.
The proposal also raises Mayor Carrie Thompson's salary by about $13,000 to $151,000 and raises the city clerk's salary by more than $40,000 to $130,000. Well, we're joined now by Emma Gladstone for more headlines from around the state. Hi, Emma.
Hi, Joe. Indiana's first state execution will go on as planned on December 18th in Michigan City. In a split decision announced Thursday night, Indiana's Supreme Court denied Joseph Corcoran's request for a stay of execution. The 49-year-old man was convicted of the 1998 murders of 4 people inside a Fort Wayne home. Corcoran's attorneys argued Corcoran's execution would violate the state and U.S. constitutions due to his paranoid schizophrenia. Governor-elect Mike Braun has released a detailed policy agenda as he prepares to take office next month. It focuses on 5 areas: tax relief, government, efficiency, workforce, development, health, healthcare, and public safety. Pat Bean reports.
Braun says he isn't worried about trying to tackle too much in his newly released policy agenda for 2025. Braun, who officially takes office January 13th, says his detailed proposals include some low-hanging fruit, particularly state agency reform and reorganizing the executive branch.
That I've had nothing but praise about because I think it got to be unruly. It wasn't good for transparency, accountability, just getting things done.
Many of the details in Braun's agenda are drawn from proposals he released during the campaign, notably his property tax plan. He wants to revert property tax bills to 2021 levels and cap future increases at 2 to 3%. While some of his proposals can be enacted unilaterally, much of his agenda requires legislative approval. Braun says he wants to wear lawmakers out with collaboration.
Working in the trenches with legislators on those key agenda items so that you're not trying to ram it through to where there's going to be a consensus and a feel for what is practical to get done out of the gate.
Braun says he'll be disappointed if some of his plans to improve education and workforce development aren't enacted in 2025. But he acknowledges that significant changes in healthcare will likely take more time. For Indiana News Desk, I'm Pat Bean.
Monroe County Community Schools is exploring a number of big changes, from redistricting to merging or even closing schools. Interim Superintendent Mark A. Winston hosted a listening session Tuesday night at Fairview Elementary School. She says her goal is to make Monroe County the #1 school corporation in Indiana.
We're already a lot of the way there, and so in many ways, I really do believe that we have some of the best educators in the state of Indiana. I believe we have some of the most talented students from arts, from athletics, academics.
She says the district has a few challenges, including reducing barriers in its curriculum for students with learning differences. Bradford Bomba Sr. is mentally competent to be deposed as part of a lawsuit accusing the longtime doctor for Indiana University men's basketball of a repeated sexual assaults. Magistrate Judge Mario Garcia made the ruling Tuesday after a court hearing earlier in the day in Indianapolis. Bomba is not a defendant in the class action lawsuit filed by 2 former IU men's basketball players. IU is the only named defendant. The players allege the university failed to take measures to protect them and other students. A state endangered snake has been found in some unlikely places. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Rebecca Thiel reports reptile experts say finding more locations where it can live could help speed its recovery.
The Kirtland snake is a small snake with a bright red belly that primarily lives in wet meadows and prairies. The Sycamore Land Trust is partnering with the Indiana Department of Natural Resources to restore a wetland north of Bloomington. While doing an initial species survey there, they found Kirtland snakes in a recently abandoned soybean field near its habitat. Because the farm used no-till agriculture, the snakes were able to live in crawfish burrows there.
The burrows are intact compared to traditional tilling techniques where it would actually crush the burrows and the crayfish would have to build new ones.
Ingbrecht said they also found snakes in wetlands that had been restored close to a decade ago. That's earlier than expected, which he says is a good sign too.
Holy cow, these things are starting to use these wetlands almost immediately after they're built. And that's a really good sign when we start thinking about Kirtland snake management and recovery.
For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Rebecca Thiel.
Indiana's firearm deer hunting season ended Sunday with 110,000 deer harvested statewide. That's about 60,000 less than in 2023. The reduction comes after the state implemented a limit of 6 harvested does in a season.
Most hunters have an idea of how many deer that they want to harvest. The numbers that we allow folks, those bag limits to harvest, are kind of right in those ranges.
Though the firearm season has come to an end, there are still opportunities for hunters to harvest deer through January with Monroe County's deer reduction zones. And Joe, one of these zones is Griffey Lake, where 19 deer were harvested during 2 weekend hunts last month.
Thank you so much, Emma. Coming up next on Indiana News Desk. To meet a growing demand, aviation schools in the state are working to train the next generation of pilots. And the college football playoff bracket will be announced Sunday, but who IU will face is still up in the air. These stories and more right here on Indiana News Desk.
One snowman cake, present and correct.
I'm very much looking forward to it.
We have much to be grateful for.
Just what I wanted for Christmas.
I had hoped for the opportunity to dazzle.
Dazzle?
Good news indeed.
Welcome back to Indiana News Desk. Pilots remain in short supply throughout the country. Our own Clayton Baumgarth comes to us from the Monroe County Airport. Talk about how that problem may become even more complicated.
For the last few weeks, I've been talking with different aviation training programs throughout the state about what the cause of these shortages might be and how they're working to train the next generation of pilots. And one fact is clear. Those shortages are slowly starting to improve. It's going to be many years before they go away entirely. Schools with aviation programs around the state are always flush with students trying to get into the air.
You know, we're not a giant program, we're not certainly small by any means, but we will have about 400 applicants in any given year, up to 400, and we will select less than 50 to be student pilots here.
At Indiana State University, students can choose between 3 different majors in the aviation program. Across the department, there are usually 400 students enrolled, with 100 of them practicing flying at any given time. As Colbert says, it's not a large program, but many students graduating from the ISU Aviation Department go on to work at most of the major airlines and cargo companies throughout the country.
We have a lot of students go to Republic, and then Republic has flight contracts with, I think, all of the major airlines. So we see our students with all of the major airlines at this point, as well as a lot of the cargo companies. UPS and FedEx both, Atlas, we have people everywhere.
Part of that is because aviation is a smaller industry than most. According to the FAA, just under 500,000 people in the U.S. currently hold a license to fly. Compare that to another heavily trained industry, such as the 1.3 million legal professionals currently working. But Colbert says this small industry often follows a cyclical pattern of hiring and firing.
There is nothing happening now in aviation that hasn't happened before. There's giant hiring, and then there's a scare, and then there's furloughs, and then people wait around, and then there's giant hiring, and then there's some scares, and then there's some furloughs, and then people wait around, and I don't think that's going to stop.
But something big is on the horizon. The Regional Airline Association says that nearly half of today's qualified pilot workforce face a federally mandated age 65 retirement in the next 15 years. Even sooner, 13.5% of the pilot workforce must retire by 2029. This silver tsunami, as it has been dubbed, not only affects pilots, but other jobs in the aviation industry.
We oversee and manage the Indianapolis International Airport as well as Central Indiana's largest airport system, and about 25% of our seasoned workforce is eligible at retirement age by 2026.
This includes jobs such as engineers, construction workers, on-site police and fire officers, frontline staff, and more. The Indianapolis Airport Authority has been marketing summer internship programs as well as apprenticeship opportunities to attract younger people into the workforce. They've also added opportunities for employees to grow and train within the airport.
Everything that we're doing is goes back to what our executive director calls public value. And so, you've heard the old adage sometimes about, oh, if you train them, they'll leave. Or if you develop them, they'll leave. And he doesn't kind of stick to that model.
Not only is the silver tsunami coming, but general pilot shortages have also challenged the industry at large, causing flight limitations and increased costs. Much of the shortage has been brought on by the remnants of COVID, where the industry shrunk then exploded in popularity shortly after the pandemic. There's also the cyclical shrink growth pattern taking place simultaneously.
The students that are getting in are going to be in pretty good shape. The students coming through in 20 years are going to be sitting right seat for a while.
Programs like Indiana State's and Purdue's are trying to get as many students as they can through, but there's only so many students they can take at any given time. One cause is the time requirement needed to become licensed. In 2010, a new law raised the logged flight time necessary to become eligible from 250 to 1,500 hours. Some have argued that number should be reduced, but Succo says it's ultimately a debate of quality versus quantity.
What's the quality of the training that we are trying to accomplish versus the quantity of the flight time? Because theoretically, you could have 500 hours of hot air balloon time, and that counts towards the 1,500. So what's the quality of that time?
Then there are other programs, such as the LIFT Academy, that focus on getting those flight hours as quickly as possible. LIFT was founded in 2018 in Indianapolis by Republic Airways as a way to get more pilots in the cockpit seats faster.
We couldn't really rely on the existing supply, the existing programs to generate the volume of pilots and the pilots with the kind of training we needed at the time. So it was incumbent upon us to take it on ourselves.
Colbert says that a hiring boom in February or March next year will be a huge help, but the silver tsunami will require many more new pilots to fill in the gaps.
There's a ton of factors involved in that, but we believe that we just need to keep the pace that we have always had to produce the pilots that are needed at a really high level.
Industry shortages such as this have the potential to affect all levels of flying, from international-sized airports to regional facilities like the one here in Monroe County. For Indiana News Desk, I'm Clayton Baumgarth.
And after finishing the regular season with an 11-1 record, Indiana University's football team is almost certain to be one of the 12 teams in the college football playoffs. IU's potential opponents in the first round all share something the upstart Hoosiers do not have, being traditional powers. Elise Perry reports.
The final pairings for the college football playoffs will be announced Sunday at noon on ESPN. The Hoosiers appear to be locked into the 10th seed and would be on the road for a first-round playoff game December 20th or 21st. Potential opponents, according to college football analysts, are Penn State, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, or Notre Dame. Indiana will have had 3 weeks between last Saturday's rout of Purdue and the first round of the college football playoffs.
Next week will be very similar to a game week. It might not be exact, but, we'll start preparation in earnest. Preparation on the opponent, depending on who that is. Some of these teams we know already, some of them we don't. And next week won't be quite like a game week, but it'll be similar.
The outcome of conference championship games tonight and tomorrow will impact the pairings. That includes the Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis between Oregon and Penn State. If the top-ranked Ducks win as expected, IU will likely play at Penn State in the first round. If Penn State upsets Oregon, and Texas beats Georgia in the SEC title game, IU could find itself back in Columbus in a rematch at Ohio State. Last month, the Buckeyes handed the Hoosiers their only loss. If Penn State and Georgia both pull off upsets in their conference championships, IU could face Texas. It's also possible, but unlikely, that IU will play at Notre Dame. IU has faced criticism about if it belongs in the playoffs because of its strength of schedule, which is among the weakest of the playoff teams. But Cignetti isn't making any apologies.
You know, what I would say is most of the games we've played, we've handled the opponent pretty well, or we wouldn't have the largest margin of victory in the country.
For Indiana News Desk, I'm Elise Perry.
And now, if the Hoosiers can continue their unprecedented run, they would play in the quarterfinals on December 31st or January 1st. Those 4 games will be played at traditional bowl game sites. That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana News Desk is made possible in part by Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnerships with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. Smithville Fiber Internet Security Solutions and Voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger & Robertson Attorneys at Law, utilizing 75 years of experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.